Mid-February 1864. I slide the door open and met a breath of cool morning air. Clumps of thick clouds trundled silently over the city, an unusually strong wind driving them along. It's cold today. I shivered a bit and grabbed a jacket from near the door to wrap around myself. A week has passed since I began living in the headquarters of the Shinsengumi. I was given a room of my own, but they made it clear that I wasn't to roam freely. They weren't the best accommodations, but given how close I was to being murdered by them, instead, I thought it would be best not to complain. Still, do I really need to dress like this all the time? I sighed, staring at my feet on the cold floor. They gave me temporary accommodations, but it wasn't without its strict conditions.
The Shinsengumi will look after you, but we do not allow women to simply wander our doors. The Shinsengumi keeping a woman? If such rumors were to spread, tongues begin to wag. Even worse, it may invite guests who are also searching for Kyoto to come here, looking for you. It is still up to speculation. However, whether or not he has been taken or attacked, so many unanswered questions hovering about. All the more reason to keep recklessness at a low. In other words, you need to keep this facade as a man. Do I make myself clear?
Clear. His reasoning was sound. Perhaps more than that. I knew he was not only concerned for the Shinsengumi, but also for the safety of my father and myself. I didn't have a choice regardless, but keeping this in mind made his orders more palatable.
I don't expect this to be an issue, but having a woman around could disrupt morale, so to speak. For that reason, only we, the Shinsegumi's leadership, will know the truth of the situation. It is imperative for us to keep this under wraps, for there is no telling what will become of rumors.
I understand the situation, so what should I do while I'm here?
Nothing. You're going to get a room, and you're going to stay in it.
Really? I could have sworn we decided she was going to be someone's page.
Souji! Keep your tongue in your mouth, or I'll cut the fucking thing off!
Before long, I'd been there for a week. I guess I don't have much of a choice. No sense in dwelling on what I can't do, after all. Although it was still a new sensation, I'd grown comfortable in dressing like a boy, particularly the feeling of wearing pants. I straightened up and touched the kodachi that Hijikata had given back to me. This was a familiar friend of mine, the blade by my hip stretching back to as far as I can recall. According to my father, this was an important heirloom passed down through the Yukimoto clan. As such, I was forced to take lessons in swordplay, making me well aware of what the blade was capable of. I have never cared much for weapons. Weapons hurt people, which is an obvious factor, but it was more than that, at least for me. For as long back as I could remember, any wounds I suffered healed at an incredible rate. Small cuts would disappear overnight. As a child, I thought nothing of it. But as I grew older, I began to realize that I was not quite normal. Father insisted it was a gift from the gods, but I should tell no one about it. I didn't tell anyone of it, of course. I was afraid they would treat me like a monster if they knew. Ever since then, I've done my best not to get hurt. I stayed as far away from blades as I could, and before I realized it, I developed a fear of them. My constant need for disguise was frustrating, but my condition left me unsettled. Still, wasn't the only thing on my mind. The rank and file soldiers, they treated me coldly. I'm not just imagining it, right? I learned that having a private room was a privilege, even for captains. For a child to arrive and receive better treatment than their own captains? No surprise, really, for the soldiers to hate me. It's true that I can't really blame them. I was enjoying the Shinsengumi's hospitality, and so I felt I should help them in some way. But I knew nothing of the soldiers and their ways. I gave as much effort as possible, despite Hijikata's commands for me to stay in my room. How does one calm the lonely, restless mind? I think for the soldiers, whenever the captains or other officers would look out for me, it would appear as if they were giving me special treatment. They're just watching me. To make sure I kept my mouth shut, they took turns watching over me. Any mistake on my part would cause huge trouble, so they were making an effort to keep me contained. Even if I could speak with the soldiers, what conversations could we share? Nothing. My only respite from any possibility of detection would be to stay alone. Again. All I wanted from this, though, was to find my father. Even though they promised to help me, keeping me locked here without the ability to leave was no better than being tied up. Just when it felt like I'd made some progress in my journey, my search was put to a halt. Perhaps, I thought, I could talk to Hijikata, if he would give me permission to look for my father. Oh no, that's right! He just departed yesterday to Osaka. Well, if Hijikata's not here... I wasn't sure what to do. To be completely honest, staying in this room was awfully boring. No, considering your predicament, you need to follow Hijikata's orders, Chizuru. I didn't want to cause any disturbance on top of what I'd done. The consequences would be... What am I doing here? A forlorn feeling wafted over me. The room was nice, of course, but also particularly empty. I wasn't uncomfortable, I suppose, but not comfortable either, and there was nothing to pass the time. Here I'd thought I've gotten used to doing nothing. My father's business required him to take trips frequently, sometimes for days at a time, and so I'd spend a good deal of my time at home by myself. That isn't quite the same, though. At least back then, I always knew he'd be back eventually. Waiting for someone you knew would return, and waiting for what you didn't quite know are two different things. I wonder when I will be able to start looking for father again. All my reflections eventually manifest into sighs.
Yukimura! I've been looking for you! I didn't think you'd be here.
Kondou smiled brilliantly at me as he stepped into the room, holding a tray in his hands. I'm sorry? I wasn't sure what to make of his words, so instead I silently bowed.
Wait a moment. Is this your room?
For now, yes.
Oh no. Then I barged into a woman's room without announcing myself.
Oh no, it's fine. After all, it isn't as though there isn't anything here I wouldn't want you to see.
We've decided you would be Toshi's page, so I'd assume your room would be next to his.
Hijikata had of course failed to let Kondou know that I had yet to be made a page. I wasn't surprised. It wasn't too hard to see what was going on. I'm not really prepared to entertain, but you're welcome to come in if you'd like.
There's no need to worry. If I may, I'll take you up on your offer. And you needn't feel nervous around me. While you are here, you are a guest of the Shinsengumi.
Then he placed the tray on the floor between us. This is... As I looked down at the tray, I could barely stifle my sudden squeal of excitement.
Ahem. You are a fan of sweets, I take? I found some of these in the cupboard, so I brought them here for you.
On the plate, he arranged several colorful candies and a cup and warm green tea.
So, what do you think? If you'd like to have some, go ahead. No need to hold back.
Thank you very much! I cautiously reached to take one of the candies. It's delicious! It has been a while since I had any sweets. Something about the small, colorful candy seemed so adorable that I couldn't help but smile.
I'm glad you like them.
Kondou possessed a warm presence that made me feel safe as he watched me eat.
Oh yes. I heard you haven't been allowed to go outside.
It's true, but it seemed better to know my place. Rushing things would only make more trouble. So just as Hijikata suggested, I plan on waiting it out a little more.
I see. I'm glad you understand. I know Toshi seems a little rough on the edges, but I can promise you, he is a truly caring man.
Hijikata? Caring? That didn't seem right. But then again, I told myself Kondou always knows him much better than I do.
He may be a little strict with you, but only because he has your best interests at heart.
I guessed that to be the case. If the commander doesn't think it's time for me to leave yet, then I trust him. I'm sure you all know what's out there better than I do. I haven't spent much time with him, but it was obvious Hijikata was no fool. He was intimidating, of course, but he was a man of good intentions.
I'll talk to Toshi. You're bored, I know, but I have to ask you to hang on a bit.
Thank you. Thank you. He hadn't done much, to be honest, but Kondou's visit had cheered me up greatly, of course. The conditions of staying in my room were left unchanged. However, the creature comforts of spending an afternoon drinking warm tea gave me some life. Time stood still, shadows drifting along my wall. How long am I going to do this? Solitude was proving detrimental to any glimmer of hope. My heart felt heavier with each moment. How lonely the wistful forlorn mind can become. I'd been swept up in a frightening world I didn't understand and couldn't possibly control. I can't possibly figure out what's going to happen to Father if I'm stuck here. Only Hijikata can give me permission to leave, and he's gone. All I could do was wait. Lamenting things I couldn't change wouldn't improve my situation and would arguably make it worse. I knew I couldn't trust the men of the Shinsengumi completely. They were, after all, men who could take my life in the blink of an eye. just as easy for them to end my life. Well, at least they've been nice to me. For now. They're nice men deep down, right?
Does anyone ever call you gullible?
Ah! What were you doing here?
Oh, you didn't notice me? Well, it's my turn to keep watch.
Did you hear everything I said?
Hmm?
He'd heard me. He had definitely heard me. I wanted to scream, but before I could open my mouth, Saito stepped out from behind the door.
I think that's enough fraternizing, Souji.
Wait! Were you here the whole time too?
I arrived only moments ago.
Oh, thank goodness. I'm sorry for screaming like that.
It's nothing. And at any rate, it's not as if you said anything that would cause trouble for you.
True! I didn't say anything, bad, but still. Well, I was just embarrassed to be caught talking to myself. As Saito watched my fidgeting and mumbling, his eyes pierced right through me.
I came to tell you that dinner is ready, but have I interrupted something?
Oh, no, nothing at all.
I had intended to wait until you and Souji finished your discussion, but I figured if I left the two of you alone, it would be longer before I saw either of you. So I came in.
Saito shrugged shortly before we caught the sound of footsteps approaching us noisily. Heisuke shot through the door the moment he saw us. However, his face fell.
Hey, guys! Dinner time!
My apologies, Heisuke. I will be there presently.
Yeah. You too, Chizuru. Hurry up, or it's gonna be gone before you know it.
Sorry, Toto. I'll be there as soon as I can. He turned to leave, but he halted in his tracks. He pursed his small lips together before speaking.
Look, can you drop the whole Toto thing? Just call me Heisuke. Everyone else does.
Are you sure?
Yeah, why not? We're practically the same age, and we don't need to use our honorifics.
All right. I'll do that then, Heisuke.
Great! Sounds better already. Shall we go?
You're late.
You kids are late. Who's gonna answer to my crying stomach?
You mean growling, Shin? Really? He's so simple sometimes.
You guys ought to apologize to my stomach. He wanted to dig in, but I said no. We've got to wait for him.
You're such a softie, Shin. Alright guys, it's time to eat. And that means every man for himself.
Man, there's barely enough here to feed a kid, let alone a man. So I'll just have to take yours. Survival of the fittest. This food is mine.
Hey! Why do you always steal my food?
It's 'cause of the difference in size, kid. I got a bigger body. That means I need more food.
Well, I'm still growing, old man. So I ought to eat more too.
Sorry you had to see this, Chizuru. They're always like this.
I've gotten used to it.
How are we to deal with accepting such insanity?
Oh? Why aren't you taking anything?
Yeah, I'm good. If I eat too much, I'll slow down.
Hey, what do you mean, slow? Whatever, I'm taking that.
Go for it. So long as I get a little sake to sip, I'm good.
Sounds like I'm going with sake too.
Try not to worry about eating too much or being a freeloader or something, Chizuru. Just eat your little heart out, okay?
I know. I can't help but feel a little bad, though.
Well, if you let that get to you, you're gonna lose. You have to protect what's yours.
Oh, okay. Always eating alone made the experience of dinner with these men both an exhilarating and a frightening evening for me. It was actually fun.
See? There's that smile. You ought to do that more often. We aren't gonna hurt you.
Harada. His mouth curled up into an honest smile of his own. Had I really looked so down? Perhaps they were all trying to cheer me up. I wasn't quite sure how to feel. I was conflicted over whether or not to feel pity for myself or to approach the moment for what it was. The joy seemed to be whining out, however, and I caught myself smiling as Inoue entered the room.
Gentlemen, do you have a moment?
As usual, his voice was warm, but in his eyes was a level of solemnity I'd never seen before, at least during our brief acquaintance this far. The warmth of the room slowly evaporated.
I've just received word from Osaka. Sanan has been gravely injured in battle.
What?
What happened?
A dry goods store in Osaka was invaded by a group of Ronin. Toshi and Sanan arrived in time to enter the fray and subdue the Ronin. However, Sanan was stabbed during the encounter.
Is he going to be all right?
According to the letter, he's gravely hurt, but the wound is on his left arm. It'll be hard for him to wield a blade, but he'll almost certainly survive.
Oh, thank goodness. I exhaled as a brief sigh of relief, but the rest of the room was tense, still itching for answers.
He should be returning here in a few days. Now please, excuse me, I must speak with Kondou.
He turned as he spoke, his last words delivered over his shoulder, and was gone. It was Saito who then broke the awkward silence.
An injury so grave, he cannot clutch his sword. Perhaps the wound severed an artery. To wield a blade with one arm is a disservice. He may never carry a blade again if it's true.
Oh, at last, I understood.
Fighting with a single hand would mean less strength behind his blows. Against an opponent of similar skill, he would almost certainly lose.
If push comes to shove, he'll have to take it. I don't think Sanan's just going to give up.
Don't jinx him, Souji. It's gonna look bad if officers start joining the Furies.
Huh? Wait, that didn't make any sense. What are the Furies?
Oh, so Furies come from something you drink where any injury could be cured.
Heisuke!
Huh? Before I could move, Harada was on his feet and halfway across the room. I barely had time to gasp before he dove his fist into Heisuke!
Ow!
Heisuke, are you alright?
Sano, you're overreacting. That was my bad, Heisuke. I slipped first.
You alright? Sorry.
After a moment, Harada curtly nodded to Heisuke in apology, the latter offering a quick, pained smile.
Nah, I should have been watching what I said. Still, Sano, you didn't have to hit me.
His punch had enough force to knock out a lesser man, but Heisuke seemed unfazed. It was never clear how different these men were.
Chizuru, everything you just heard is something you are never to repeat. I'm sure you're curious, but we can't tell you anything else, so don't ask. And forget what you just heard from Heisuke.
His voice was friendly, but his eyes gave his words a cold weight that made me feel uncomfortable.
The Furies that Heisuke spoke about are men to be pitied.
Okida's voice was flat, emotionless. A sudden chill of melancholy entered his eyes. I couldn't bring myself to say anything more. Thankfully, Nakakura broke the awkward silence.
It's nothing you need to worry yourself about. You don't have to get all worked up.
I was only a guest in their house, not a warrior of the Shinsengumi. The truth of the Shinsengumi's secrets were no business of mine. Something I'd known. There was little value in this sentiment, however.
Put it from your mind. Involving yourself in our affairs will only put you in greater danger.
I bit my lip and kept silent. The wall between us almost tangible. Almost far too large an obstacle for me to defeat easily. I finished my dinner in sad silence, excused myself, and returned to my room. I had a great deal to think about. Furies, huh? I wondered to myself if the Furies referred to the Rakshasa, pictured in Buddhist text. Though I wasn't well versed, I recalled reading a text about a man-eating demon god with that name. I have no idea where to start, from drinking the medicine to Captain becoming a Fury. Grrr. No, I wasn't supposed to think about those things. I was only going to get myself in trouble if I stuck my nose where it didn't belong. Seeing or hearing the wrong thing could kill me. If I die, I'll have a hard time looking for my father. The Shinsengumi captains are keeping themselves hush around me, especially about the Furies. Are they doing it to protect me? Even if I dug around, I'm sure nothing good would come of it. With that in mind, I did my best to clear my head on the evening's events and slipped into my futon.
Whoa, Where are you going? I thought we were going to drink all night. You should have told me if you can't handle it. Wait. Shit, it's the end of the video!